Hello and welcome to the Grapeseed Official Podcast. Today we welcome Michael, a teacher in Japan, on this week's Grapeseed Friends. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm very excited. Michael, in a long time ago, Michael was a teacher at a school that I used to go to, but now times have changed, but Michael's still there. So I'm very glad that you're still around and teaching Grapeseed. So let's get right into talking about your experience, which is very long at this point. I think right before we started recording, you mentioned that it was 7.5 years at this school now.
That's right. This is my 8th year. And yeah, it's really surreal just to come on and to be able to talk about my experiences after so much time when, during my training, I was still very nervous and a very fresh off the boat kind of teacher. So yeah.
Excellent. So that got question 1 out of the way for us already. So how many classes are you teaching this school year and what units are they on?
Sure thing. So I teach an immersive class of 34 kids over about 7 hours a day alongside a Japanese teacher. And those guys are split into 2 teams that usually do 2 Grapeseed lessons per team, per day. Unless it's an event day or the month leading up to our full English musical, then we just do the 1 lesson to make time for practice. We complete units 6 through 11 in the school year with that class. And of course, in the evenings, I also teach a late class that means the world to me. And I'm excited to talk about them because they just started unit 39.
Ooh.
And of course, yeah, they will finish Grapeseed by the end of this year. And all the remaining kids in that class, I have actually taught previously at least 2 or 3 times. And I've watched them grow for about 8 years now. So we just spent a big portion of that class kind of reminiscing about the good old days before COVID-19.
It was a different time.
It sure was, yeah.
So in that vast experience from your 7.5 years all the way up to unit 39 now, what is your favorite unit and component?
I thought about this for a while, and I think that unit 8 is my favorite unit, primarily because it feels really impactful and it ties a lot of things together in our development. The first few months of my immersion class are the hardest in a way, because the kids come from just one 40-minute lesson of units 1 through 5 and jump into an environment of doing twice as much English and being expected to use it often outside of the lesson, which is, of course, very important for Grapeseed. The end of unit 8 roughly comes with like the end of summer for us. And it feels like a second start, really, where a lot of the more timid kids start to attempt using sentences more reliably. And the kids who've been communicating from the start kind of start to talk my ear off and make a lot more sense. The heavy focus on question words is very useful in that unit, such as the story Right Now. I think it's very important to try to show the kids many other situations or take them to places where you can ask the same questions as are in that story to sort of tie all that comprehension together. So I find that really useful. Each year, for example, before Unit 8, I still have some kids who might ask, "What is Miss Misaki?" when they actually mean where, right?
Mm-hmm.
Despite learning both functions, what and where in Unit 1, a lot of kids still fall back on the easier one automatically, I think, because it's used a lot more. We kind of expect a lot of stuff to sink into their brain at Unit 1, but using Unit 8, it's not really a problem, right? And with a lot of gentle reminding and praise for using the functions correctly, Unit 8 really helps me to iron out issues like that.
Excellent. How about a specific component?
Again, the story Right Now, just because it's so useful, though it's not really the most exciting one. But some honorable mentions are definitely Mother Who Lives in a Boot in Unit 2. I even bring that up for review in my class sometimes because there's just so much wacky stuff in there, right? It gets the kids talking about it. They love to express, what's wacky about it. All the color and number songs are pretty much fantastic. They'll get stuck in your head forever. And I want to give a special mention to some of the later units in the 30s. For example, we recently finished a song called I Beg Your Pardon.
Okay.
And a lot of those songs just have really good production value, I feel, and have been kind of well done. Like the older kids actually really get into them.
Yeah, the guy who arranges the music for Grapeseed, Josh Friesen, he was on a podcast quite a while ago, and yeah, he brought his A game for the 30 and up stuff, because there's a lot of really fun. Army of Rabbits, I really like quite a bit. It's really catchy. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them that are really great in that 30 to 40 range. So if you
totally agree, yeah,
if you're a teacher and you have access on the digital content site on the portal, then go try to flip through those and see if you can find your own new favorite song in Grapeseed.
That's it. Like even in the 20s to 30s, there were a couple towards the end there where sort of didn't feel like they were keeping up with the kids, right? They weren't quite age appropriate. And I feel like they took a lot of that criticism to heart and really lifted the game up in the 30s. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, they just sound like pop songs almost, like just complete.
That's it.
Yeah. So you might have to shake off some cobwebs on this next question here, but your first Grapeseed training all those years ago, what did you think and what were your first impressions?
Great, not a problem. I made some serious notes for this one. My Grapeseed training was here in Tokyo, and it took 3 days. I was as attentive as possible because I was extremely nervous. I had experienced teaching English, but never with kids, and I had it in my head that it wasn't for me. And it felt wonderful when the kids proved me wrong on that one. I learned an incredible amount of information in those 3 days, and my head really hurt. But I think that some of it stuck because I kind of had an all-star team of trainers at the time. They were Adam, yourself, Tim, and more of a cameo from Grace and Miklos.
A cameo from Grace and Miklos. I like.
Well, I just remember the two of you, you and Tim, being like sort of the primary leaders there. I'll do my best not to sort of butter your ego too much with how I phrase this, but in all honesty, you were a very memorable trainer for me, and I've never had a particularly strong attention span, and yet I found you compelling and easy to listen to for long periods of time. And a year or so into my career with Grapeseed, you came to my school to view one of my lessons. And you seemed so genuinely impressed with how I told the story Water Play at Gorilla School from Unit 8. I'm talking like eyebrows raised. You really made me believe that it was the best one you'd ever heard. And that's always kind of stuck with me.
Goodbye, my friends, goodbye. I'm sad to say goodbye. It was a good day, but now I will say goodbye, my friends, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.